be scary, but I feel like that's something that doesn't really suit Hron. His Sorlag is pretty strong, so I expect Hron to be fairly comfortable in map 1. Map 2, I think Garpy's got a very good chance of winning, and Molten Falls is just going to be... It's going to be just smack talk between the champions themselves. I just can't tell what's going to happen there.
Dude, Molten's going to be outrageous. Not only because, if I'm not wrong, I feel like this is the 3rd time in total we've actually seen Scale over the entire season.
It's been a few amount. I actually have the stats somewhere, but
I know you were going in with the stats. I'm pretty sure it's 3. I know we've seen him at least guaranteed 1 time before, but I feel like there's been another pick in there when we weren't here.
Yeah. Well, okay, so the one interesting thing about Scalebearer, and actually in this matchup itself, Scale versus Eisen is becoming not a classic matchup, but something that we're at least becoming far more familiar with, because the turrets blocks the bull rush, so you can get this very interesting kind of positioning going on, even though Eisen himself's not that mobile. So the ways the abilities play out versus each other is super fascinating. But on the lead up to QuakeCon this year, Scalebearer on Molten seemed to be uncounterable in practice.
Right.
And Hron actually managed to get that as a respect band versus him at QuakeCon, because they were like, I just don't want to deal with this guy Scalebearer because it's ridiculous on Molten Falls. Now is it making a bit of a comeback? Have people worked out how to play against it? It's kind of something that we're waiting to see. But this could be a return to old great form, even though Hron's form is good anyway.
Yeah.
His form at QuakeCon was amazing, so... Could be good.
Could be pretty strong. I'm excited. That's definitely one of the... If one of those players is going to be able to give us a nice little 101 kind of tech demo of how to use Eisen as that counter, I feel like Garpy would be the man to do it as well.
Yeah.
Like, the way he approaches a lot of situation is pretty well thought out. He definitely has the game sense for a lot of those scenarios. Zron, however... He just wrecks face, if I'm honest with you. Some of the times we can just see him pop off, and I wouldn't be surprised if he did pop off. Let's get into it. Zron versus Garpy.
Hron is kind of like a living, walking meme as well when it comes to using some of these champions, so I wonder what kind of tricks he's going to be pulling out for us. I think Garpy's going to want to try and keep things fairly slow, but there is a point in control for Sorlag where whoever is wielding Sorlag can just go pedal to the metal.
Well, it's an early trade to kick this one off. Garpy's definitely in a position to actually start to do some damage here. Wants to battle him off, gaining control of the heavy. Garpy gets the first frag and the free heavy pickup. All things coming up Garpy so far.
I love the positional control from Garpy. He didn't worry about getting other weapons. He had the LG, was confident with it. There's some great rockets from Hron. He's going to try and find some more over the connector. And Hron's not going to overcommit to this. He's like, okay, where did he go exactly? I can double jump off the top, but my timing's just a bit off! It's going to be a mutual frag. Who's going to get the spawn by the mega health? Looks like Hron will be closer, but is he going to go back for it? Garpy's going to go up. He's suddenly found loads and loads of weapons, and he's got access to get himself over towards the heavy armor too. So, even though Hron spawned closer, he decided to go straight for the LG in his area, where it could have actually gone differently if he went straight to mega health. I feel like Hron misplayed it a tiny bit off the spawn.
It does leave him in a bit of a stalemate now, because off the back of that opening fight between them both, Garpy got control of both of the major items. Ooh, this is where it gets awkward though. The Sorlag spit's going to come through. He does get him tremendously low. The ticks are still coming out as well. Thank heavens that he actually got the spawn on the Megazoo, because he would have been fried alive. Zron does go down, and Garpy's now back in the driving seat.
Garpy needs to find a way to slow this down, and right now he's just super likely to die very, very soon. He needs to make sure he's stood in positions which are awkward for Hron to get to, otherwise he's going to just get rushed down really hard. And if Hron wants to really spice things up, he can use rocket jump. These are the Garpy rockets that we're talking about. He somehow managed to get the dodge out, and it's still challenging for this mega health. That is remarkably good from Garpy.
From an awkward situation into way more of a stable one. Garpy's now put into a strong spot, goes all in. He has limited ammunition across the board though. He might have to switch out to the nail if this carries on. Instead goes for the MG. That'll be the pop to grab himself the heavy and then skedaddle out of there. Doesn't fancy going for the fight, but instead gets away with his life and a free railgun.
These double jumps have been a little bit stressful for me. Oh, that rocket comes out in time. He was railable there. He'll get himself the mega health. He's trying to get some decent control, but because he's been able to win all of these fights, he's always kind of playing this balancing game. Initial rocket misses, and that is going to be the end of Garpy. Hron gets his second on the board.
Okay, this is good though. Zron actually gaining control of the heavy at least. He's straight back into the fight. He wants to go bloodthirsty. Garpy has a nice amount of stack to play with, but if Zron can burn it off, at least hit a damaging rocket, he could have overthrown him. Instead, Garpy sticks true to his guns there, beats him down, has the Mega Spawn in his control, and another frag. Instant pickup on the rail. If the rockets connect, this could be awful for Zron.
This LG is working out for Garpy. Been looking really, really good with it. I've been speaking to Squan recently, and he does feel... He tells me that he feels a little bit depressed at his aim right now.
Okay.
I feel like we've seen some good aim from him this game, but it's certainly not always what we expect from him. So hopefully he's able to step it up a bit.
Oof, the Ferrari peak on the railgun there, barely missing as it whizzes by. Garpy didn't have the awareness. Oh, I thought it was going to be the ring out.
That was close. That was really, really close. Rockets, Ron, he's got the right weapon out. He'll be able to punish. You got the heavy if you want it, mate. He's going to go over, get himself the light. Or is he going to go back and get heavy? All right, I like the rotation. Don't be worried, but he's got that plan for the future. And he's going to just push straight through, hoping that he can win an even fight, but he switches away from the LG with the rail. Garpy will have Mega in hand, and he's just going to fade out of there and manage to keep that overstack.
This isn't too bad, at least. I mean, Zron's finally been able to break the flow of Garpy's rotations because he's had so much control already going into Awoken here. He should actually win this fight as well. Overcomes with the LG. He can make his way over to Heavy. That's now up. He's then got 9 seconds. If he's quick enough here and confident enough, he might be able to net himself another frag and a pickup on the Mega. But it's the late trade with the rocket that'll stop that. Garpy gets the Mega Spawn as well, Zoot. That couldn't have gone worse.
Yeah, Garpy did very well. Picked a wise time to attack. I think Hron was expecting him a little further back, but that was some good LG from Hron. Forces out the Berserk.
5-minute warning.
It's not like the biggest ability to force out, but those kind of urgent 500 UPS rushes are at least nullified for the next few moments. And Hron going to start pushing forward. How's that? This is such a nice position to have on the map, but he seems to have his timing a little bit fuddled. Still gets that rail afterwards to punish the pickup. Right, things settle down a bit on Awoken.
Yeah, finally a bit of silence across the battlefield. A bit of a haircut there given to Garpy as Ron just gives him a small little, number one on the sides with the LG.
Bristly kind of, facial hair, so he really needs it.
Just trimming him up a bit.
Yeah. He looks like a baby when he shaves completely, actually. It's hilarious.
Incredible. We definitely is smooth into a lot of these fights. Coming up to 6 minutes at this point, Zron just skulking around, taking it slow as he wants to get in a better position here, trying to gain control of the Mega. It's up in 20. Garpy basically has uncontested rotations into the heavy, though. That's going to be up in 9 seconds. So Zron tries to initiate the fight. It doesn't work out too amazingly for him. The Sorlac Spit will go across, hoping to land these rockets. Wow. That's Garpy going for the heavy as he's going to get away. And Zron has to fight here.
A rail like that helps so much. Garpy's done a brilliant job of taking care of the threat that was Hron at this huge stack. I feel like Hron maybe could have done a bit more with it at the time, and I think that play towards rail spawn was his efforts at it, but Garpy just countered it flawlessly. But Hron's already getting up there. If he can fight for this heavy armor, which he should be able to. Okay, not anymore. One rail is all he needs to sometimes deter that motivation. Ooh. One more rail would really help him out. He's not going to hit it, and now he's going to try and get away. I think he's overstayed his welcome, and Garpy has that homing missile, which is going to secure him the 2-point lead for the moment. Some of his rockets this game have really been a good demonstration of just why we regard him so highly. There's a follow-up rocket, catches him on the side. Not going to get that last fade away, but he knows just how much health he has and pushes in for that last little splatter.
It's because he basically just has like heat-seeking rockets the entire time. Zron might be cold-blooded on the Sorlag. Let's see if he can start to use some of that frustration into this map that he can come back into it against Garpy, taking a heavy beating of the LG. He gets him low, and the nails will save it with 2 HP. The biggest clutch to actually keep him in a viable position to battle it out and take Awoken here. 2 frags between equalizing the scoreline. There is still time on the clock. He has the Sorlag Spit. He has limited weaponry, but he's trying to up his arsenal. Goes in again with the Sorlag Spit and the predictive rockets. Garpy taking a ton of damage. If he can get the heavy suit, it's a winnable fight.
Yeah, now Hron's looking a little bit better after that heavy, but there's definitely a moment there where things are a bit sketchy for him. Mega's going to get taken. Hron still wants to chase despite having a sort of mediocre stack. I really think that Garpy can fight versus Hron fairly comfortably as long as Hron's like 100 or less, but Garpy's very low now, tries to get away, still lands a decent rocket, and Hron maybe wondering what the hell just happened there. Machine gun is such a nice switch and catches him before he fades through connector. That's why it's so important to know roughly what HP does your opponent have, because it can help you make those good weapon switches. Ooh, rocket trades over here.
This is awful for Zron though. So much damage done. Garpy gonna try and get into a better spot as well. Tags him, bringing him down to 37 HP. Barely alive at this point, inches away from his demise. Grabs as many small items as he can to try and revitalize himself, but here comes the combat. The anarchy being dealt out from Garpy as he'll cut his way through Zron. 10 frags now. If it was going close towards sudden death, that's Garpy putting his foot down and saying no.
Oh, rocket. Had good prediction, didn't land the shots initially. He's just got to survive for a minute. By the time it gets to 9:30, he can really play the game slowly. At this stage, he still needs to poke and prod a tiny bit at Hron. It's basically this next rotation of items that's going to decide everything. Hron's got to be perfect. Garpy's just going to be strong defensively. And this is scary. Garpy's missed his shots. He's going to try and berserk away and get out of there. Still under a lot of pressure. It's run, run, run. He gets up to the heavy, denies it. But is it enough? Hron is going to be chasing super hard these last 20 seconds.
It's doable. He's not got a rail. He's got 5 rockets. He's got 69 LG ammo to play with. And he's got 20 seconds of time. Here comes the fight though as he gets up close and personal. Garpy struck out of the air. Smited by Zron. The follow-up frag as well. Potentially on the cards, but he's low. He might want to try and back off. Play more so for the major pickups. Get the items and play it out for sudden death, Zoot.
This is so scary for Hron to stay up here. I can't believe that he actually did that for 7 seconds. Garpy could have pushed and won the game there. I think he's railable. Garpy needs to be super, super careful. He's respecting Hron's aim. He's going to go up and get himself a 25 HP bubble before fading down to mega health.
Look at the weapon, Zoot. He doesn't have much ammunition to play with. He has 9 ammo on the LG. 1 singular rocket that could be the difference maker, and he's just firing out the rail shots. That's all he's going in with. 20 seconds has already passed. Zron backing off. 4 seconds until heavy. He should probably gain control of it, but Garpy's going to fight for it. He's close by. Instead, tries to push his agenda, wanting to win the map. There's 8 seconds left still on the Mega as well, so Zron can't dilly-dally to try and pick it up. Garpy has everything in his command right now.
Garpy's a huge favorite at the moment. He's also managed to keep great timing of the items. This is something early in the season he struggled with, and Garpy should be able to finish it now. That's going to be it. Garpy takes map 1. Wow. Super close, man. That was super, super close.
That was sick.
And I know that Hron is someone who's actually still one of the people chasing to get himself to top 4 in the global standings. And I got to say, the fact that he lost that map might actually nullify his chances a decent amount because of everything else that we've got going on at the same time. Or at least through our schedule.
So many other results that are going to be affecting him negatively. The fact is he had to come in strong going into this series, right?
Yeah.
And like, Frios are literally the most godlike win that you can take at this point because they are worth their weight in gold in terms of the points.
It's still absolutely worth him going full ham in the next 2 maps because you never know what's going to happen. Those people ahead of you might not get the results that they're looking for, but it does mean that all of a sudden there's that reduction in his chances. So a big win for Garpy in terms of denying the chances for Hron, which is almost mean, but so be it. It's nice to see that both Garpy and Sparty, even if they're at the bottom of the standings in EUCIS, they're still playing some bloody great Quake.
It looks like over the weeks we've had both of them, like Sparty and Garpy, have just procedurally got better and better and look like they've started to get back into that old form. Like, timings are on point there. The rockets, we always say about how sick they were, but this was literally the 101 of Garpy rockets.
Definitely.
Like, we really didn't see that many misses. The fact it goes down to a really sick sudden death as well to close this out, everything about that matchup was actually very nice. Like, classic, just vintage Awoken gameplay.
Yeah, I really feel that Garpy's item control was just a little stronger than Hron, just in the way that he seemed to be calculating his timings. There were a couple of moments for me where Hron was just like, oh, I hope it spawns soon. I know it spawns soon, but I hope it spawns really soon. You know what I mean? And it's it makes it gives me a bit of anxiety when watching it, when I know if he had that exact timing, he could probably step away for a second and maybe fend himself off and reduce any kind of control that Garpy has. All of a sudden, the extra things you can do of that time can secure those items even more for you.
Oh no, I totally agree. Like, Mega control in this matchup here was just sublime. Like, I think it was somewhere along the lines of like a 17-6 split of the Mega between them two, which is pretty darn one-sided when you think about it.
Yeah, Garpy was absolutely on it with it, and when we saw Hron go for the Mega Health, it did feel sort of like a tentative control. There was definitely punishment that was going on. The nails that we got from Hron here were actually pretty sick. I really thought that Garpy was going to win that fight. And, you know, had he won that fight, we probably wouldn't see something like a sudden death.
Also, Zron as well, with the absolutely crazy confidence when we got into literally that last second of sudden death, when he held out for the Mega Spawn, for the Heavy Spawn the entire time. Like, that was a big ball play.
It was. I was really, really scared for him then. But to get into sudden death was brilliant from Hron, but he just was under too much pressure afterwards to be able to keep things together. And when Sorlag is even 100 health and armor, that's not enough to kind of keep yourself going. You're still a vulnerable target. You need to be getting that overstack in at least your health or your armor with full natural on the other, so that you can be a bit confident going around the map.
Well, there's a lot of timelines where it could have been different as well. The fact where, like, Garpy basically had free control of the first heavy into the sudden death, and then when we saw him rotate back, if it would have been 5 seconds difference, that would have been a Mega. Could have given him some help to play with. Instead of that, we had, what, like 40 HP on Zron? And it's just like, what are you supposed to do? Garpy literally has everything in his inventory. He's got armor. He's got HP. You have nothing.
That's why he knows that. As long as I make sure that the items are cycled, in my free time, when there's 15 seconds plus till the next one, I'm just going to put on the pressure. If he takes the light armor, he knows that's on it. He needs to get like 3 light armors for it to be the difference maker. I'm going to use your term. In order to try and turn that control over. So let's see if anything crazy can happen again. We've got another map. It is Hron. It is Garpy. And see what the show awaits us. We've got a Slash for Hron, which it's always exciting to see Slash, and Hron has been practicing her more and more. And production's like, nah, you suck at Slash, get out of here.
It's been taken away. We'll have to wait and see if he can do some damage and get some frags. If we want to cut back, instead it'll be our main man in Garpy. Took the first map. Let's see if he can take first blood. He is getting tagged up and then fragged up by Zron. The rockets were tasty, but the delicious play was from the rail.
Production didn't have faith. No, I didn't have faith either. Okay. Sorry, I love you, production. That's looking pretty. I like the movement that we're seeing from him. The thing is, he's a very low sense user. I wonder if he changed his sensitivity a bit to use his champion. These rockets are phenomenal from Hron. He knows the spawn can be over there, hoping the rocket can land into a rail. It didn't spawn there? Okay. That's an unusual occurrence. Color me surprised. Ooh. This is flicktastic here. What is going on Hron's rails? He doesn't know what's going on. It's just things are hitting. Go and do another one. He's there.
Oh, he had to break the streak, Zoo. It could have been absolutely sickening. At this point, it falls back into something a little bit more down to earth. Already, though, 2 frags on the board within a minute and 30. It's a strong showing from Zron here. And the movement is actually really nice.
She just cursed it.
It was really nice. Oh, the rails, though. That's what I'm here to see, as he is giving us a show. Garpy. Just giblets everywhere.
Giblets, but, gib. Just cover that.
just so people know.
Oh, there's quite a lot of nail damage that he was receiving there. He didn't get the full punish off the spawn, so Garpy gets away, not feeling terrible about himself. Hron's going to get some rail ammo and a nice little wall clip across. Not such a nice wall clip there, but there's 1 rail. There's 2. And he can actually pressure a little more here. Even though Mega's been picked up, he should be able to continue here. Oh my god, that was close. Off the spawn. There we go, a little tag. I love bite or crisp. What's it called? You know what I mean?
What, like a love tap?
Love tap, yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. I love bite.
That's a whole different thing. That's what we do in between games.
Not here.
The wife could never know. Nearly on the 3-minute mark, though.
Oh! Rocket to follow up. Oh, it's beautiful. That's another homing missile that we need.
Oh, a 2-frag split between them. Garpy. Wow. Okay. Well, that's a point-blank rocket to shatter the skull of Zron and leave him in 1,000 pieces on the floor. does mean he's one frag away from equalizing this now as well. His stack is in a bit of a dire spot, and Zron instantly snatches himself a nice heavy to bolster his defenses. That should be the Mega. Actually, no, it's not. Zron's already over there. This man is ridiculously rapid.
He was like, yeah, you've got the control of the choke point. I'm not going to challenge on it. Oh, Garpy's missing out. This has done a little juke, and that should be the Rockets, but the shotgun comes out. Feels bad for Garpy.
It was so sick.
It was set up quite well, but it's that extra Mega Stack that really made things work out. Garpy was still chasing it. He definitely needs to back off now, but he knows he's overcommitted, so he's going to do the most he possibly can, which very nearly secured him the kill or a mutual.
All right, Zron is looking so stoked into this series right now. This man is just displaying an unprecedented level of skill. Gets like, the close contact there as well.
It's like, wow, I'm winning with Slash. This is great. Let's keep this going.
There's actually been, like, what, 2 moments as well where he's bumped into a wall. Other than that, he's been navigating the map like the back of his hand. Like, it's actually looked really smooth on his actual movement. It's given him such an edge on the rotation.
I'm genuinely very impressed with Hron. I think he has definitely given us a good showing. He doesn't commit to it. He had the speed to carry on, and I think he kind of lost faith a little bit. Sometimes you just need to invoke your speed a little more confidently, and you can take that item. And I think he had the weapons to challenge from heavy to bridge, which is often a kind of a place where you're cautious of fighting and that you really need stack and weaponry to favor you. But a moment's hesitation causes Garpy to get himself back in the game. And hoping that, yeah, Hron will just run right into this. This is some really good reads from him, actually. There's no piercing sight at all needed just there. He just knows exactly what Hron's up to.
He's got the built-in piercing sight. It's the Garpy plays that come through as he was able to get that prediction off. It was a nice rocket. Looking to try and gain control of the Mega here as well. Drops down amongst the lower levels of the pillars as he runs by. Has complete control in terms of his stack. He's looking healthy. And he has the prediction as well. Use the piercing sight, but he can't pierce through the armor of Zron with the rail. Instead, just trying to pepper spray him with those bullets. He slaps him up, but he can't take him down, Zoo.
I was so close. He really had to hit the jump pad rail. That was the one there. Hron's going to miss a shot himself, but there's some great reactions from Garpy. He's got Hron very, very low. But Hron's so quick to get out of there. Using his movement to his advantage. And Garpy's trying to set up a trap. Does he want the resources over at pillars? He sees that the light armor's not been taken. He has got the piercing sight available to him. And heavy up after the piercing sight fades away. And he hears the drop down, but Hron is still just making his way out of there. He might even try to run for the rest of the map. It's very difficult to do that against a Visor, though. Wrong weapon. That means that control's now challenged. And it's going to be Mega Health going over to Hron, so that's just changed. Wrong weapon switch right there. Changes the game entirely.
Those Garpy rockets are only down to 4 remaining as well. Luckily, he gets close towards the rocket, but he's not given an opportunity to pick it up. He gets starved out. Zron, he's stolen the rockets, done a ton of damage, and been able to get away. Garpy, he's back over by Heavy. It's up in 3 seconds. At the very least, he can add some slight advantage to his stack. But Zron has control towards the Mega. Garpy's got to play with confidence. Piercing sight goes out.
Wow,
there's the rail. That is sickeningly strong. The final rocket is expunged out. And here's where we actually fall into a little bit of a stalemate. Oh, Zron, he nearly left himself exposed there. 1 rail remaining for Garpy Zoo.
I don't know how he hit. I know he had piercing sight, but I still don't know how he hit that rail. That was insane. I think it went through the ledge or something. He's got a bit more rail ammunition there. The sound cue forces Hron to show himself. Oh, those rails hurt. Still 1 more needed. Hron's like, how are you still alive? I've got just 3 in a row on you. And you know life's difficult when you're in the Blood Pool healing up on Blood Covenant. It's maybe a little more common on Blood Run to do it, but this is a, I feel, kind of crap move.
He's getting away with it, though.
He has got his full 100. That's impressive.
That's actually worked out incredibly well.
Is there a light? No light. He wants to use Piercing Sight, but he also doesn't want to use it and for Hron to know where he is. So Piercing Sight turns out to be a good move. It's like, is this light? He just doesn't know when most stuff is up. He had a feeling about it. The feeling plays true to him. And now he's got himself Mega Health. So things have started working out. I feel like Hron maybe could have had a bit of a tighter control on Mega Health. But maybe he chased on a certain route and suddenly Garpy blocking it means he can't take it himself. But game now is going to be very close in the last 2 minutes. Garpy's got to find a way to open up.
He definitely has an opportunity to do so. He's basically had uncontested control of the heavy for the good majority of the game as well, and he can steal it again here, but actually the speed from Zron, aided by a little bit of a boost that comes around. He's hitting so many of the shots, but it's the trail that kills him.
Oh, no.
Garpy falls into it. The detonation will destroy him. Zron now has a major advantage in terms of the frags. He's low once again on the hit. Garpy gets the mega. Zoom. Everything could change here in the last minute and 30 of the game.
That could have been hilarious even if the plasma troll didn't hit, because suddenly Garpy could have turned that fight around unless Chron switches over to machine gun. I don't know, that was so bizarre. Garpy's going to feel a little bit frustrated by that. He just needs to be perfect in these last minute and 15 in order to come back. There's a chance, but I'll leave it at a sort of solid 10% right now. And Chron is countering flawlessly.
Stopwatch.
That's going to be the Mega Health. And I think that Mega is enough to secure Chron the map. What a rail shot here.
Especially when he's doing disgusting things like this as well with a rail. He has one left. Will he land it for style points? No, he won't. But at the very least, all he's got to do now is just survive, keep himself alive in the matchup to be able to close it down. The LG and the Tribolt doing whatever he can to just strike fear against Garpy, then goes in, grabs himself the heavy. There's so much damage to Garpy that in the last 30 seconds of the match, he really cannot bring this back. There fundamentally isn't enough time to get the kills he needs. And it looks like they're going to split the series 1-1 apiece going into the deciding map.
This is going to be another stat padding for Slash. Slash, who of the times she is picked, has something like a 90% win rate. Something insane like that. I'll have to get the stats again because I haven't updated myself in a while. But yeah, there's some mad things happening with Slash. And it's good to see that Chron's actually able to use her effectively. There were chances for Garpy in this one. Nice little SSG kill at the end to make it 9-4, but we've got ourselves a tiebreaker, an actual tiebreaker coming right up.
This is big. These are normally the games that provide us with the most outrageous moments. So hopefully we really get some dominance coming through. But what this does mean is Garpy looked great on Awoken, right? Everything was lovely to witness from him. Zron, he was sickeningly strong for a good majority of the game there on Blood Covenant. Movement was great. Rails was strong. Overall understanding just looked pretty damn crisp. Third and final map as a decider between these two boys. Who have you got your eyes on?
What have we got? We've got a Molten going on with Eisen versus Scalebearer.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the one at the beginning where I thought, I just simply don't know. I think actually the first two maps went flipped in the way I thought they were going to pan out. It's just going to be amusing. It's all about how effectively they're going to be able to use the champions against each other, obviously. But are they going to get the best out of their abilities? Are they going to hit the shots that they need? Have we got that control coming into play too? I mean, it's all of it. And I don't really feel like on paper one of the champions is... Okay, Eisen is statistically very good, but from what I've seen from Scalebearer on Molten, also had some great stats earlier in the year.
Yeah, I think it's also hard as well because, like, if we're basing it off stats, right? Sure, we've got an awful lot of games where Eisen's been like a pretty strong pick when people have had an opportunity to get him when he's not been banned. But Eisen versus Scale is such a weird matchup on its own that I don't know if it kind of takes our normal stats out the window a little bit, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I would normally say Eisen for sure. But when you've got Chron using Scalebearer, suddenly that stat doesn't seem accurate anymore.
Yeah.
So
this was the rail as well, right?
That was so close. And also the actual beam itself looked like it went through the ledge, but you could see when he shot, it was the pixel. Thanks for catching that.
The actual
really
hit was definitely on him. The crosshair placement was sublime, but the rail itself did look like it clipped for like half a pillar. So. Make of that what you will. But another great game from both of these boys. Definitely looking like they've come to play tonight.
Yeah, it's exactly what I want to see. I'm looking for fireworks in the last map. I think I'm kind of like falling over my own words in terms of understanding how it's going to play out. But I think the game has to be played for us to get an idea. It could be interesting for a whole variety of different reasons. I just hope to see some Bull Rush kills.
Oh, hell yeah. That's one of the things we're going to want to walk away from this with, but we are ready for it. Zron versus Garpy. This is to take the series, as it is all down to this.
Well, Garpy, he's managed to get himself the mega side of the map. Still looking to find a way over to some other weapons, but there's usually that patience at the beginning to understand, okay, what is my opponent up to? What's their strat? Are they trying to chase around the weapons as soon as possible? Are they baiting me on one of the weapons? And Garpy knows, particularly going versus a Scale Bearer, if you just walk into a room with him and you're not prepared, then I'm sorry, you're going to get bull rushed and rocketed in the air or just hit 20 different ways and feel very sorry for yourself afterwards. Really, Garpy needs that railgun, but he knows that that's such a sensitive point on the map.
I actually wouldn't be surprised if this much slower, passive style of play holds up for quite some time here into this match. I think the first fight is going to have a lot of stake on it.
Yeah, and Molten has traditionally been a very slow map anyway. Scale can obviously speed that up through movement. But I feel like recently we've been getting a lot of faster Molten Falls where people have wanted to fight a lot more. But this to me feels like, okay, now I'm watching classic Molten Duel, and Garpy's still trying to figure out a way to get over towards the railgun. If anything, he's actually kind of happy to not fight. As long as he keeps denying the sort of mega health, and he sees that Hron's over there, just as he wants to try and pick up something, there's a chance for him there to have gotten the railgun, but he's moving out of here, and Hron, is he going to be chasing? That's going to be a no. He sets himself over to the mega health. Garpy gets to rail, and now really the duel properly begins a minute and 50 in my opinion.
This is where the game actually should start to ramp up, right? The entire playstyle we had was to try and gain control eventually of the rail. He's now picked it up. He can back off. He does have the turret, but he's lost so much health. Zron doing a ton of damage. Deny the bull rush. He tries to get it down. The rockets are strong, but Zron is stronger into the fight and gets the opening elimination.
Garpy's still going to be able to, off the spawn, get himself the heavy LG and the railgun. So he's not looking bad at all off the spawn. And if anything, Hron wants to keep it slow-ish. He needs those opening rails again, and he doesn't win that fight, which means that suddenly Hron is the one on the run. Garpy gets 2 for nothing, and he's looking for a way to close this out.
That was 2 very clean connections. Zron isolated just to get in the light. Garpy, if he would have landed that, Zron would have felt so much pain course through his body. Instead, he barely gets away alive. He's close towards the Mega, and the timing works out tremendously well for him. He's going to be able to scavenge it. Bull rushes back up, and we're about to hit 3 minutes.
Yeah, Hron gets full timing on the map. Knows all items. Now he's picked up enough items himself that he's actually not worried. He can go into a head-to-head fight and try and pick off those rails first, and then see how he wants to follow it up. Garpy looking for the initial damage, and Hron is hoping that he'll just go around the corner, because then he can do the Scale Bearer special. And the Scale Bearer is a mighty fine chef.
Here comes the rockets. The bull rush is going to come across, but it's really not going to help him out. Uses it more to just escape at this point. Tries to backtrack and go in again. The ring out. There's number 2 of the day. Zron almost killed with a martyrdom turret, but it won't matter. Luckily enough, though, Garpy smashes him into a puddle of little blue sludge as he will get that frag.
Did he walk into the passive damage for a second? That looks crazy. Garpy, okay, he has got himself the mega health, reaps the full rewards. There is the heavy. It gets exact timing of it, so both players, okay, fully wise to the timings. 2 directs through the teleporter. That feels good for the Brit. He's going to get another direct. It's just directs everywhere. And everyone's like, are you serious now? It just ends up standing still, hoping he's going to come back to admire his work.
Ooh. Bull rush on the escape. It gives control of the Mega over to Garpy. He'll take a light as well, as that one's coming for free. Drops himself down, the battle of the LG. Surely it should be Garpy overthrowing Zron here in close combat, as he will get another pickup, equalizing the scoreline now, Zoo.
Yeah, very nice work from Garpy. He had to be so fast getting over to the heavy to buy himself that opportunity. He needs these rockets to land. We've got no bull rush for a while. Can the rail be found? Does manage to clutch it in the end. It was so low then. I don't think Hron had the rockets, otherwise I'm sure he would have used it. Wow, Hron pushing in once more. Rockets aren't going to get the kill. Is Garpy just sailing away with this at the moment? And Hron doesn't go for the heavy either. Turret's put in the wrong position, but it's like, see you later, mate. I've got the verticality to dodge your bull rush. Some of these rails he has need to hit a couple more of these rails. I feel like it's not inexcusable. It's just, you need to be hitting those shots on scale. He's a big boy target.
You do have a lot of surface area to hit. Oof. Wow, okay. The one who's hitting right now, though, is Zron, as he is going to be lighting up Garpy like the 4th of July there, leaving him lifeless on the ground, as he's only 1 kill away from tying up the scoreline 4 apiece, as this has been so back and forth already.
Yeah, if Garpy landed that 1 rocket in the last fight, he would have won that fight. So we hold him to such high regard with that weapon. It feels so noticeable when he does miss a crucial shot like that. He doesn't have rockets, I think, so he's looking for a really sharp angle. He's like, hello, mate. See you later. He's going to sneak forward. There's the LG. Bull rush! Oh, God, it hurts! No! Somehow Garpy survives. I think he did the math in terms of how much damage he could afford to take. And Ron's going to push forward. The rockets are looking really good. Ron can't do much with this. That's going to be another frag to the Brit.
This is rough. Garpy has such a strong hold on the matchup at this point. He's given himself a large lead to work with. Zron does manage to scavenge that railgun, which will aid him ever so slightly. It'll give him more to work with. There's one of the rails whizzing by, nearly blowing an ear off the head of Garpy.
Now we can hear the stomping again. Lead the way into the turret right there. There's the counter that we were talking about earlier on. Is he going to look for the rail shot afterwards? Kron is the one who's low. Oh, he finds him, but just as Mega's picked up, it's 2 in a row anyway. 7-3 for Garpy.
That was so smart. The play was lovely. Utilizing Eisen's actual active ability there with the turret to completely deny any type of shenanigans from Zron. The rails were stellar, and then he gets a follow-up frag just for the fun of it with a rocket. And he has such a large lead now.
Kron's got one of the best smiles out of all the guys in Quake. I can just imagine that the frown was there, though. Oh my God, just lifted. So when you bull rush into a turret, you're not smiling anymore. No, you're just really sad. The turret goes down for some safety. He looks for the mid-air, gets a 30 damage on it. The turret almost does the work for him. I think Kron's just gone a little bit insane now.
He's just going for it. He's absolutely gunning for it. Any opportunity he has where he's like, right, I'm just going to bull rush in.
He had like 5 health. That was crazy. That was a bit crazy, even for Kron.
You know
that was
what?
crazy.
I feel like at this point, though, it's kind of worth going for the insane plays. Time's starting to tick away, right?
He totally has to. Garpy's getting himself actually a really nice win here. If he can hold on for 2 minutes, which I think is very likely at the moment.
Starts to build himself up. A couple of those hourglasses as well, getting close with 15 seconds on the clock for his next turret, so if he needs to, he can try and deny another bull rush, or at least have some kind of annoyance there from the turret. Although, the signature weapon of the British Bulldog is low on ammo. He's got 2 rockets to work with here, Zoot.
At the moment, he's just trying to evade everything. He's like, I'm going to run. Not many people have tried running against the Scalebearer, because Scalebearer is really quick, and he's rushing you now. There's the turret! The turret of sadness and despair for Kron. He'll get the kill anyway, but it just could have been so much more beautiful for him.
It is a really good showstopper, though, of just completely throwing a spanner in the works. Zron has been so effective at landing these rails at every opportunity. He wanted to try and use the rockets to give himself increased movement on the way around. Doesn't really work out the way he had in mind. He does get the heavy. He's got a minute now to get 6 frags. I don't know about you, but this feels like a pretty impossible task with the way Garpy has been evading.
No, it is impossible.
The roadblock!
I just love it even more when the voice line is, I will lead the way, and you just crush into the turret.
Oh,
man.
man.
Oh, it makes me chuckle a lot. And Garpy's always been ready for it. I just love how he's so often preparing for the fights by just leaving the ability up and then, right, use your ability, there's my counter. Like, that's the kind of discipline that you need to have sometimes, but then it just comes back into a normal gunfight. Oh,
dude.
One more, 12-4. What a day for Garpy, man. I'm proud of my British brethren.
Yeah, I'm impressed.
But you know what? Ron, he knew there was a chance to get himself to top 4 of the global leaderboard, and that chance might just have faded away with this result.
He had an opportunity, but he couldn't quite close it out. Garpy just overall today looking so good in quite a few different departments.
So again, we see that bottom 2 EUCIS players in the global leaderboard winning their matches against 2 notable players, how much concern is there going to be for CNZ and Cypher at the moment, who have got to prepare for these players? It's the games that are going to go on, which are going to be best of 5 games at the beginning of the weekend in Lucca, because the winner of those games will then enter the normal bracket of the rest of the players. It's going to be a really fruity, spicy game. I can't wait for those matches. No matter what way it turns out, who plays who, there's going to be drama everywhere.
I suppose my question to that as well is obviously with the practice regimens these players have been having, mostly playing against other players inside of the QPL, so they can try and, learn against the opponents they're probably going to be going up against.
Yeah.
With the players we have coming over from the Challenger League, how well versed are our players in relegation going to be against them, though, Zoo? Have they had that many opportunities to actually prac?
Yeah, they've definitely been getting their practice partners. I think with someone like CNZ, because his English is not so good, he tends to practice. He'll be practicing a lot versus players, I imagine, like Cooler, Base, and things like that.
So still pretty well versed players, yeah.
But a lot of these guys have got experience versus each other already, but they haven't had the sort of Quake Champions time limit duel LAN experience that the rest of the QPL players have had. I generally think there's not going to be too much. I think the one person that's going to struggle is going to be Genic, Canadian player. He's qualified in the first place through the Americas Challenges just because he's actually never been to LAN before.
Right.
And I think that's going to be the main struggle. Dewey, who's the other Americas player, it's going to be his first time on LAN playing time limit duel, but he's built quite a lot of experience, having spent a lot of time with Maestro, for instance. It's mainly my eyes are on Genic at the moment. How is he going to be able to perform? And something that we'll certainly be talking more about later, because after EUCIS, we've of course got the Americas with 4 more matches to look at then.
Yeah, that can definitely be quite a daunting affair, especially going into your first LAN, it being a stage LAN as well, where it's not like a local event. All the pressure's on you.
You've got one match to prove yourself there. You've got to take down what will be either Sib, Brick, or Effortless. I think we'll be a step closer to being able to confirm who it's going to be by the end of today, or who it could be. But it's interesting to see in the Americas actually how close it still is to battle your way out of relegation, where everything's on the line still.
Yeah, crazy stuff there. But Garpy in the end closing it down with a 2-1 split versus Ron. Yep. Garpy looking pretty damn good. I feel like the British Bulldog, he came out with not only a lot of bark but some strong bite.
I'm super impressed. I gotta say, I was expecting Hron to take the win. I don't think we did predictions on this, but I certainly would have seen Hron as a favourite, sort of 60-65% favourite. But